Hello, this is Chidero, and today I'm going to show you how to bling out the over and under bracelet by Loom from Justin's Toys. Loom has outdone himself with this bracelet. It is wonderful. It is, as he says, a new looming technique. Especially love the closing of the bracelet. All I did is added these crystal beads to his secondary bands. These bands right there. So in order to follow along with this tutorial, you must complete the first two steps of Loom's bracelet tutorial. Down below you will see the link. Right now let's go over the supplies needed to continue. Okay, as you can see here, you will need your loom completed with the first two steps, which shows that the first step, Loom adds the double bands, and the second step, it is showing it was cap band and then loomed all the way down. Now, he does use two looms in his video. I have only used one because we are simply focusing more on adding these crystals to the bands and just showing you how to place the band on the loom so your crystals will show whenever it is on your wrist. So these are the crystals that I will be using today. So this bead alone, it's probably the smallest hole bead that I have used to date. You can see right there, that is the hole that we're going to be threading. So it does go all the way to the back. So, you know, it has possibilities. Typically it's used just for stringing, you know, just a regular typical jewelry bead bracelet. But for today, we're going to use one hole from the top to the bottom. And the way we're going to use our beads is we're going to use a very thin gauged jewelry string wire. I use the metal because it has stability to it. It's not, you know, there's plastic, the stretchy cord and whatnot, but this is very thin. We're going to use that, and that is going to enable us to add the crystal bead to this band right here, and then we will place it on our loom. So you will need, like I said, your loom with step 2 ready, a loom hook, your threading wire, beads of your choice, and today we're going to use 12 bands. In my original attempt at this bracelet of adding some bling to it, I did every one of the secondary bands. It is a little bit crowded in a way, but I think it would look just as nice if we did every other one. And plus, like I said, they are a bit pricey, and I surely do not want this to be just a hobby that's becoming, you know, somewhat of a bank pusher. So let's try just to do every other one today, and we'll see what the outcome is. Okay, if you're ready on your step 2, and let's bling it. Okay, right here, this is a little spool of the very thin gauged jewelry wire. It didn't come on an actual hard spool, which would have been like really cool because it would have been all nice and neat. So I just want to show you that I am human, and this is my attempt at keeping it together. But what you do is you just want to take I'd say about, let's see, maybe the length of your longest finger. That might be a good way to put it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to cut it. So we'll find the end of it. And these here are just some snips. They're like a 3-in-1 tool that came with a beginner's jewelry kit that I had bought. Right here is the cutter. Up here on the top, these are holders. So they're really, really cool because you can hold those tiny beads and whatnot. So let's take, and we're going to cut this wire. Okay, and as I mentioned back in the middle here, this is where the cutter is, so we're just going to cut it. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bend it in half, meet the two ends. You want to make sure, I know it sounds crazy, but you want to be particular to make sure that your two ends are spot on together, because this hole that we're getting ready to thread is really tiny and you have to get both of these ends through at the same time. So make sure that they are together and just very carefully just bend it, because you want to have that, we're creating that middle point right there. And because it's a wire and not stretch cord, it's going to stay in place. Okay, now that we have our wire ready, we have our little crystal diamond and a bead. So we're going to take our wire, we're going to open it up. It's the V shape. We're going to take our band, put the band down so it falls right into the middle, and it just kind of hangs there. Now, this is the kind of key part of why I was asking to make sure that you have your wire as even as you can at the top there. Now we're going to start the threading process. So take your bead. We're going to find the two holes. As I mentioned, that these particular ones, they have a hole on each side, but we just want to make sure whatever hole we're going into, we're going to end up on the opposite side. So you want to hold your bead upside down. You want to take your threader, place it through until you get it through the outside. Okay, you can see once you get it on that wire. Okay, now depending on what type of bead, or I'm sorry, what type of band that you're using will be whether or not it's going to be a snug fit. But whatever you do, don't really force it on. It's going to take a little bit of a tug, but just kind of do it slowly, because these have a little bit of an edge on them and you don't want to break your bands. Alright, so all we have to do now is just take out our threader and you got your beaded band. I always put the beads in the middle of the band. No matter what bracelet I'm doing, they go right in the middle. And then you can always adjust them once you have your bracelet loomed. And I'll show you on this one specifically, because you want them to fall into a certain place. So as you can see, it is threaded through and it's not going anywhere. Okay, so what I'd like to do is let's bead maybe 2 more, and then we'll go ahead and put them on to the loom. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to take our wire, open it up into a V, take our band, put it down so it falls in between that V. Make sure that these two ends are straight together. Let's take our bead. We're going to thread it from one side. Make sure that both of your, see how there's 2, make sure they both came through. Once you are sure they're on the, there we go. Give it a little bit, see, I'm kind of happy that happened, to be honest with you. Now you can see this is not, this is typical not typical, but this is a good example on what can happen. As I had mentioned, they have a little bit of a rough edge. These are the tiniest holes that I have loomed or put on a band so far. So that is very prone to happen. So we want to make sure, and especially like the bands, these ones here are the do-it-yourself bands. We want to make sure that they are in a good condition. There's a lot of times, I mean, how many times do you open up a pack of bands and there's going to be one or two broke ones or something? Come on, these are machine thread, you know, made bands in bulk. So make sure you have your band is in good shape. Let's try this one more time. Put that down on there. Stick that in the one side. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to be really easy. Make sure I can kind of maybe line the bead up with the band. And I'm pulling so easy right now. Alright, well, we got it on there. Good. This is the first time I've ever, well, the first one that I made of this design was the first time that I put these type of beads on round metal metallic bands, because they're very shiny, slippery, so they go on pretty well. Okay, there's two. Let's try one more. Take your thread, open it up, slide a band down, push your wires together, grab your bead, turn it over. They are very tiny, and I'm trying my hardest to make sure that you can see me threading it in. Alright, we got that one. So carefully slide it on the middle, and let's take our thread out. Cool. Alright, now we have 3, and all of them have the crystal bead in the middle of them. Okay, if we want to do every other peg with a bead, we're going to need just regular bands with no beads, and you know, you would need your bands with the beads on them. In my case, even with the existing bracelet that I did create, I didn't even do the whole bracelet as Loom did 2 looms, and that's because with, you know, with the beads on them, I didn't want them on the back side, so I just simply did a simple stitch on the back just to close it off. If you do prefer to do the entire 2 loom process, then you would need 24 of your crystal beads. If you decide to do every other peg, you know, you're going to need 12, but we're just for 1 loom you would need 6, but in our case we're just going to do 3 just to show the process. Okay, so my suggestion is let's just start with a plain band, and whatever you start with you want to finish with, but we don't want to have anything near the clasp. So you're going to, I'm sorry, I'm left-handed. Okay, let's stick our hook down inside this hole here and have it come out to the left. Put the band on the hook, bring it up through, and we're going to place that band on the next peg in front, and then place the other part on top. So please make sure that you do pay attention to Loom's detail on band placement, as it is important. Okay, so let's grab one of our bling bands, and this time, because we did the left in the beginning, we want to do to the right. So we're going to stick our hook down in this hole here and bring it out on the right side. We're going to take the band one side on, pull it up through, and we're going to place it on the peg in front. Okay, so we still have this end here we're holding on to. Let's take that, put our hook through, grab it, and place it on the top. Now again, this is only the technique that I have used because I'm holding a band with a bead. I highly suggest that you do exactly what Loom has shown in the video for band placement for the design to come out as he intended it. Okay, so you can see, you know, your space here is a little bit further, so the band or the bead could have fallen back some. At any measure, we just want to make sure it's up next to the peg. If you need to tug on it, do so please. Alright, so since we're going to do every other, our next band will just be a plain band. We'll take that band and put our hook down in the center. Make sure that it is through all of our bands. Bring the band up through. Place it on the peg in front. I grab this and I place it on top. Okay, so again, this is just doing it every other peg, which I think is going to come out better, and plus it's going to save us some beads. Okay, so let's just take our last one we're going to show here. We're going to do one more beaded band. Now this time we came out on the right. We did do the left, so we're going to do the right again. Okay, because it is right, left designed. When you put the bracelet on, we'll see once we get there what the design will bring us with just every other bead. So we'll stick our hook down in, grab the end of the band, bring it up through all of those bands, bring it to the center peg. We're going to take this part of the band, put it on top. So our bead is in the middle here. You could leave it there. It actually looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't think it's gonna make a difference. It might even look better, but I always kind of push them a little bit so they're next to the peg there. Okay, so we have the beginning part of the bracelet. We added a regular band, and then we added a band with a bead, a regular band, and then another band with a bead. So this is the every other process if you want to do it that way. And obviously the next step would be to put a regular band here, bead, regular, bead, regular, bead, regular, bead. Once your loom is complete, then we'll come back. Okay, now that our whole loom is complete, whether you decided to do every primary band added with a crystal bead or every other, it is complete. So we are ready to close this off. So I wanted to show you how to close this off simply because I chose to start with a regular band without a bead, and because of that it is placing a bead on the last peg. So we're going to use Loom's technique to take off and make sure that this secondary band stays in place. So okay, so our bead is on the left side here. Okay, so we want to take the secondary band, which is the top, and bring it down below your primary band, because we want that primary color to come up and over. So we want to grab these and take them off the loom, and then simply let your secondary color here off the pin and it just falls back. So because it's already looped on there, it's not going anywhere. And then take your double bands and put them back on the first peg here. So as you can see, it kind of changes the placement of your bead. So as I showed you before, we're just going to take it and we're just going to maneuver it around a little bit to place it where it's going to be visible on your wrist. So all I'm doing is just sliding it up just a tad. Okay, there we go. So okay, so we have all of our beads in place. We have all of our bands looped. So I'm going to take it off the loom. But first, why don't we just add that C-clip to make sure that all of our hard work doesn't get ruined. So I'm just simply taking the C-clip and adding it on the peg, making sure that both bands are through. And then I prefer to put my hook down in there, and I am going to ever so carefully take this off. I don't want any bands breaking. I might just grab this C-clip here and put the hook down in and manually take these off the pegs. Okay, just kind of tugging. I guess if you have loomed a ton of bracelets and ever had one break on you, or you know, I like the beginning designs, I remember just my son and I, we would just rip them off the pegs, and it was like, yeah. And then you start getting into, you know, Feelin' Spiffy and Rob from Justin's Toys. You get into their complex designs, you're not ripping anymore because you just spent an hour of really hard work recreating their masterpiece. You're not ripping it off. You're doing this. So carefully take your hook out so you're not snagging it on anything. Oh, how exciting. Okay, I'm only going to take it up to there because I'd like to add my C-clip. Okay. I'm just pulling it taut so I have a better chance of possibly getting them all on at once. There, we got it. Okay. And make sure that they're in, and let's pull it off the loom. Oh, I love it. The colors are awesome. Alright, so I only did one loom, And I didn't even add the extension because that's for excuse me, that's for Loom to show you. But we added some bling. Okay, this bling is every other peg, and I think it still looks great. It just maybe gives it just enough sparkle. I really like it. So because it's an every other over and under design, and we did every other band with some bling on it, it's going to end up still on every other side of your bracelet, which is amazing to me. I would have thought because every time we put the band with the bling on, it was ending up on the right side. It is still going every other. So it's giving the same effect as if we put one on every single band, and it looks awesome. So let's take this one here, and we're going to compare it to the first one that I've done. And this one, we added every primary band. We added a diamond to, and this one here, we did every other. So it all depends on the look that you're achieving, whatever you're wanting to see. If you're wanting a lot of bling, you can do every band. If you're just wanting a little sparkle here and to maybe save on beads, you can do every other. I'm very impressed with even the every other look. So thank you so much for joining me. I had a ton of fun. I hope you did as well, and I hope that you're satisfied with your bracelet. Again, so much credit goes to Loom at Justin's Toys, because he really did give us a new way, a new technique of looming, which is pretty cool. And also a big thanks to Rob for allowing us to do this tutorial, just to show how we can just change it up a little bit and add a bead here or there. And I thank all of you for joining me. Greatly appreciated. I hope you had fun. Please make sure you comment below, and if you did have a great time and are happy with your bracelet, please feel free to press the like button. Follow me on Instagram, hashtag Chidero_T, which is shown below, and please show me your bracelet. Gosh, I would love to see it. Thank you. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, let's bling it.